Hi there, my name is Danny Whitney, and I would like to share with you the impact that the Corps of Discovery has had on the world. The main question I would like to answer for you is how did the Corps of Discovery change the politics and commerce in the West, and what lasting impacts did their journey have? The Corps of Discovery was the brainchild of Thomas Jefferson and Meriwether Lewis. The goal was for Lewis to gather supplies and people to help him travel up the Missouri trying to find the Northwest Passage through to the Columbia. Lewis chose William Clark, a man he had met in the Army years earlier, to be co-captain and co-leader of the expedition. They are pictured with Lewis on the left and Clark on the right. They left from St. Louis in 1804 and completed their trip to the west coast of the United States, returning back to St. Louis in 1806. Along the way, they mapped the terrain, discovered many plants and animals new to science, and acted as ambassador to the Indian tribes they came across. The journey that the Corps of Discovery completed had far-reaching political implications. When the United States bought Louisiana from France, no one was sure what the boundaries of that territory in the Northwest exactly were. Since no one was really sure what exactly was in the Northwest since it had not been explored, the English, Spanish, and Americans all felt they had a claim to it. England was in possession of Canada and had several traders who lived among and traded with the Indians of the Pacific Northwest. Spain was still in possession of Mexico and the American Southwest. Spain believed the entire West Coast was theirs. America wanted to expand west as well. Americans had the advantage in colonizing the Northwest, though. Their nation was based on the continent, and both Spain and England had many other interests and wars going on in Europe, where they had to spend most of their attention and assets. When the Corps of Discovery traveled through this unknown territory, they did so as representatives of the United States of America. They established first contact with many Indian tribes and was able to convince many of them to only do business with the United States, creating a sort of monopoly for potential American settlers. This gave Americans a leg up in trying to settle the Northwest, helping cement American dominance in the Northwest. Other than looking for the Northwest Passage, it was the duty of the Corps of Discovery, specifically Lewis, to note any possible resources on the way that could prove valuable. Fur was one of the largest resources found. The Northwest had an abundance of fur animals that could be skinned and shipped back to civilization. Furs were light compared to other resources and could be easily transported for great profits in the cities. Once the Corps of Discovery found these resources, it became somewhat of a race to settle the land. By exploring the land, the Corps of Discovery greatly hastened America's expansion to the West, advancing the American legacy in the process. Meriwether Lewis, the originator of the journey, also showed what people struggling with mental illness can accomplish, and helped create a better understanding of it. Lewis's family members, including himself, struggled mightily with manic depression. This was something Lewis had to endure through his many famous and courageous feats. He showed how burying one in one's passions can be a great reliever of their pain. He loved exploring and working through the landscape. It brought much joy to a man who struggled heavily being happy. Lewis eventually took his own life because of his overwhelming depression. For years after his death, the Corps of Discovery was often overlooked because of this black mark on the expedition. However, eventually the expedition was recognized for the amazing feat that it was. Lewis is just one of many historical figures we know today that have struggled with depression. His legacy is a testament to what people who have depression can accomplish and is a great example to those struggling of how to accomplish one's dreams.